segment 3 today, Cedric. I'm calling it athletes behaving badly. I said there'd be no tricks in this writer's block, but we got a little trickeration here going on by some of these athletes. Let's start with Baker Mayfield. I think we've done a segment on Baker or the Browns almost every week since, I don't know, June maybe.
I love Baker.
But it's time again to talk about Baker. He had is it a meltdown? Would you call it a meltdown? What would you call it, Cedric?
A little tiffed, just a little tiffed, would have reported. Not a meltdown. Ryan Leaf was a meltdown when he's standing over the guy and yelling at him, and Junior Seau, rest his soul, had to come pull him away. Baker just had a little tiff. He's frustrated. He's got 6 touchdowns and 12 picks. He's not as great as he thought he'd be as a sophomore in the NFL. It's been rough treading for the Browns, who won a Super Bowl in August, Jen. They won it in August, but then they had to play some football games, and it's a lot more difficult to win in September and October than it is in August.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the frustration's understandable. I mean, it is to me. Now, how you show it, obviously. I mean, you got to be professional. Although we've talked about different incidents before involving Baker Mayfield that have shown that maybe he's not to that face of the franchise quarterback, sort of pillar of stability just yet in the way that he responds to things. So I'm not surprised at the frustration. I mean, Cedric, let's be honest here. This, as you said, this is a team that was supposed to not just win, not just turn the tide on the bad seasons and bad years that the Browns have had, but they were supposed to be a great team. Not a good team, a great team. And they're not even close to that right now. So I understand the frustration, but, at this point, they need some stability. They need some cooler heads. And frankly, we're not seeing that out of Baker Mayfield or anybody right now. I know that it's been several weeks since we talked about just how poorly they were playing. And I think I might have said at the time, I'm not ready to give them up for dead yet, but I think I'm getting close to that. I mean, I think they're really close to, being out of the playoff contention just because you don't see them turning the corner. You don't see them getting better, do you?
No, and they have 2 guys on that team that are arguably, given what they did last year and in previous seasons, the 2 most disappointing players not named Antonio Brown for this season. And one of them is Baker Mayfield, and the other one is Odell Beckham. When Odell Beckham came aboard, they already had Nick Chubb, a pretty good offensive line, Jarvis Landry, and then some really good players on defense like Myles Garrett. And so all of a sudden you're 3-5. You're picked to win the AFC North, and the AFC North is a winnable division. The Pittsburgh Steelers are treading water, and the Baltimore Ravens are good but not great, and we know Cincinnati's bad. So they benched Andy Dalton on his birthday. I guess I need to throw that in there. So it's a tremendous opportunity for Cleveland, and it's slipping away. There's that perception that Baker Mayfield spent all summer doing commercials and not working on his game. Every time you look around, there's a Progressive commercial. I read where there are 15 or 20 different versions of that commercial. Baker mowing the grass, Baker hosting a party at the stadium. Mm-hmm. So you see one of those commercials where Baker's sitting there and those stands are empty. They could probably reshoot that if this keeps going, because that's how the stands are going to look in Cleveland if the Browns don't get it together. And it all starts with the quarterback.
Yeah, and Cedric, I don't want Baker Mayfield to fail. Like, I don't want these guys to fail, but right now there's a failure on a lot of levels with the Browns, and you can't overlook Baker's part in that. I think a lot of people are somewhat gleeful that he's failing. I'm not among them. I'm not happy about it, but it's obvious that there is a failure in his play in so many different areas of the Browns. So about the only thing that we haven't heard happening in Cleveland is a fight. Well, we got one of those. We got a basketbrawl, Cedric, the other night. Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, WWE style almost. It felt legit out there. I was a little bit concerned about those guys, my friend.
I was too, and I was hoping, I was hoping maybe a steel chair was going to go flying, or somebody hit somebody over the head with a mallet. Those kind of things happen in the WWE. Joel Embiid said that Karl Anthony Towns called him a B word, and it wasn't buddy. So you can guess what he may have called him. And the one thing I know about Joel Embiid is that he's an irritant.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that gets under your skin, and he doesn't mind talking about you in social media, talking trash to you on the court, and then all of a sudden 2 7-foot guys are rolling around on the floor, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
An NBA guy's got to be going, great. He might get some viewership because everybody's watching baseball tonight. So,
yeah.
Whatever. Boys will be boys, but man, that's a lot of money. There are millions and millions of dollars rolling around on the ground, and you can ask the Golden State Warriors. You lose $1 million. You lose your multi-million-dollar star, and things are going to be bad. Yeah. Guys got to be smart. You can't risk life and limb by rolling around on the ground in the second week of the NBA season.
Yeah.
These games don't mean anything yet.
Yeah. It was kind of surprising with the amount of fury they went after each other. I mean, and this is this is not a rivalry game. This was the Timberwolves and the Sixers. So we're not talking about, I don't know, whoever you want to say, the Lakers and the Clippers, or some of these teams that have had rivalries that have brewed up. So this is just two teams playing a regular season game, and suddenly, like you say, Steph Curry breaks his left hand, and suddenly the Warriors, who were already on a downhill trajectory, look even sketchier here for a while. I was surprised once. I think it was Embiid got pulled off, and he still looked like he's flailing around, arms and legs. And here's a guy that he's had an injury history. He's had some times where he's been out of games. I'm thinking, you know what? That cannot be a really welcome sight if you're Brett Brown or anybody else in Philadelphia thinking, we got a chance to win a championship this year. Unless that guy goes and, breaks a hand or a wrist or an arm or something, flailing around on the floor in the middle of October. I mean, it just seemed like, I don't understand when you put yourself in harm's way that way. It must have been pretty bad, Cedric, for those two guys to have gotten to that level. That was an old-fashioned fight. I mean, we haven't seen one like that in quite a while in the NBA.
And he said, I had to do what I had to do. No, you didn't. You didn't have to do that. I guess you got to protect your honor or whatever. But Jen, I've got a theory. Listen to this. And we mentioned Steph Curry. This is what happens. So Klay Thompson's out for the year. He's not going to play.
Yeah.
So Steph Curry's going to miss about 6 weeks. How about Golden State not making the playoffs, getting the first pick of the draft next year? Klay Thompson comes back.
Ooh.
Steph is back, and then all of a sudden they're going to get one of the best players from college next year. That could happen.
Huh.
That could really happen.
Yeah. Dynasty reignited. That could happen. Wow. That's a conspiracy theory that actually feels like it might have some legs. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely just getting started in the NBA. Getting very interesting in the NFL. We'll continue to talk about that. And who knows what else next week. Have a great Halloween. We hope to see you later.